Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross from PTCGRadio, and I'm back with another video, and I showed you a deck breakdown of Alex Hill's Donphan, and I never actually played a game with it. I'm here to rectify that. This is my game I played with Alex Hill's Donphan list, and I'm playing it against my good friend Matt Blower, a respected judge and player from the UK. And unfortunately that means that because I'm playing a friend, you will have to put up with a little bit of chat on the left hand side. Hopefully you can deal with that. So I got a Haulager down, I've got a Sigilif down, and I actually draw into a Phanpy and a Lunatone, and that's really good. Lunatone's got that premonition attack, and that means that I can make sure I'm drawing into what I want to the following turn. And as much as I don't really want to Juniper at least one DC next turn, I've got a Corinna in hand, so I can just essentially save that Juniper. I'm going to use a Corinna next turn. By the time I actually have to make the choice of Juniper or Colrus, I'm going to be able to have used both of my DCEs. But Matt plays a Hypnotoxic Laser, and unfortunately it comes up heads, which if you are a regular watcher of my YouTube channel, you should have been expecting that, ladies and gentlemen, you really should. I say ladies, last I checked my YouTube base was 100% male, which it hasn't always been, but last month it was, so, you know, spread the love, spread the wealth, let people know. So Matt, he's building up quite a thing now, and now, potentially, I really could have wanted a, to put that Colrus first, because there's a nice lot of Pokemon being put on the benches, but I'm going to play a Corinna here, and of course it is a tail, so I am going to lose that Haulager, unless I can draw into something good. Essentially here, and what I could do here, potentially, is play a, no, and right, I am going for the Juniper there. Now, that I don't think that was a very good play on my part there, to be perfectly honest with you. I think what I should have done was use the Corinna to get... Oh, no, I couldn't have used Corinna to get a switch. No, that's why I Junipered, because basically, in this matchup, I am trainer locked. Of course, you know, that was a mistake I made. I should have gone for a switch with a Corinna, except, of course, I'm trainer locked, and if I'd gone for the switch, I wouldn't have been able to play the switch. So it really is a moot point. So I went for the Juniper just to try and kind of accelerate what I'm getting. I missed the Donphan, but it's really not the end of the world. And I put the DCE onto Phanpy, and the reason is I want to be threatening to get one-hit KOs with my Donphan. In this kind of game, it's not a terrible matchup for me. You've seen this matchup before. You saw me play a guy called Ben with it at the Nottingham League Challenge, and I believe there might be a PTCGO game out there as well. And I've never been a Donphan player, I've been the Seismitoad player. And what this matchup really comes down to is a Donphan player playing very conservatively. Now, he's got a Garbodor out, so that Sigilif's really not doing very much. What I need to do is get my Donphan out and start hitting for decent damage on that Seismitoad while I stop one-hit KOs. He's gonna two-hit KO, and I think I've missed it again now, which is very upsetting. And of course, with his Garbodor out, Sigilif's not gonna block it. So that's a little bit frustrating, but there's nothing much I can do. But if I get that Donphan going, I'm essentially going to be hitting for 80 damage to that Seismitoad, and then if I were able to put a second strong energy down, I would be two-hitting it quite nicely. And that's basically what I'm looking for in this matchup. That's what I'm going to need to do. I'm not going to win it outright fantastically. That's not going to be the way it's going to work. It's going to be a slow game. But similarly, he's going to do one of two things. He's going to let me have trainers, in which case I've got a much better matchup, or he's going to have to two-hit me at the best. And if he two-hit KOs me, I can play on that. I can switch between things like Sigilif and Haulager if I can draw into them properly, and, you know, really make sure that I'm getting the Pokemon that I want out active, trying to stop him taking KOs. He's not really doing 90 damage a turn, he's doing 50. Even if he drops a Verbank Laser, he's doing 80. Now, what I could have done there was played the Skylar, and potentially, not the Skylar, the Corinna to get a Donphan. But it's all worked out quite nicely anyway. Now I can retreat the Sigilif for the Donphan, and then I can hit that Seismitoad, and I can switch either back into the Sigilif, which would then die, or I can switch into the Zekrom, which is not going to be perfect, because I don't have a Floatstone down on Zekrom, nor can I put one down, but I could potentially try and get a KO there in the future. So I'm going to switch into the Donphan, I'm going to hit him for 80, and I'm going to switch into the Sigalith because what I'm trying to do is take a KO next turn. Now that could potentially have been a teensy bit silly, because had I put the second strong energy on that Donphan that's got the energy piled on already, I would have hit for 100, meaning I would have got the 2-hit KO. As it is, 280s will be 160 and miss it. But I do not want to end up in a situation where he ends up hitting my Donphan, where he Lysandre's up and kills my Donphan that's got all the energy on. So I'm going to go for the kind of nicer KO here. Now, the other thing I'm not going to try and do yet is use a big attack and go for the one-hit KO on the Seismitoad, because Donphan's got that second attack that does 140 and discards the Stadium, and that would one-hit KO the Seismitoad. But the problem with doing that is that he could then respond and kill it with his Seismitoad, and then I've lost my big attacker. So I cannot do that big attack and leave the Donphan in the active spot unless he's not threatening Seismitoad's second attack. Seismitoad's second attack does 130, and I'm water weak, so it will, even if I wasn't water weak, it would still get the KO. So, you know, it really is going to kill me very quickly, and that's not what I'm looking for. Now, he does play the Lysandre there, and he drags up the Donphan, and what he could do here is retreat and KO with the Seismitoad, but he's taking a slightly slower game here, which I don't blame him for. Because he's going to get, you know, if he does that one more time, he's got the KO. Had he gone for the big KO with the other Seismitoad, I can then half kill it, and then kill it again. And it's really that Seismitoad on the bench with all the water energy that's the biggest worry for me, and the biggest threat for him. Now, if I had another energy here, the temptation would be to capture up that Seismitoad on the bench, and kill it with the Donphan. But then, of course, the Donphan would just go down as well. So I'm going to take it slowly, I'm going to spinning turn, and I'm going to switch to my Zekrom, which has got a double colourless energy attached, so I can always retreat it if need be. And I'm not really taking KOs here, but I don't need to. I'm playing a couple of Lysandre, I'm playing a couple of Pokemon Catcher. I know that I'm going to be able to drag them up at a later date for easy KOs, even with something like a Phanpy, or a Horlicher, or a Zekrom, with no damage on. Now he's going to retreat, and this is potentially a mistake on his part. He's going to take the big KO with his Seismitoad with free energy on, and now it really comes down to whether I have got an energy. But I don't have an energy. I have a Corinna, but I'm not allowed to use any trainers. I've got a Lysandre, but that's not necessarily going to help me. This is a depressing time. Because I'm not able to use Donphan's second attack, and that's what I really want to use here. I don't have an energy, I can't use his second attack to kill that Seismitoad, which is what I really want to do. The one that's just got the DCE on the bench, I'm not threatened by, especially as one of them's got about 10 HP left, and the other one's only got about 90 HP left. But I am actually able to use a Corinna for a computer search, and now I'm going to be able to use potentially that computer search to get a to be able to get an energy. Now you might find it slightly silly I'm getting rid of that Pokemon Catcher, and by the way, I'm not going for a strong energy because I only need a regular. The strong energy are too valuable, and I'm able to get rid of that Pokemon Catcher, and the reason very simply is, first of all, I'm going to be trainer locked for a lot of this game, and it's just cluttering up my deck. The other thing is, it's a coin flip. I need the Silver Bangle, I need the Muscle Band. That Lysandre is going to be money late game. The Pokemon Catcher could really go either way. So I'm going to get all my tools down while I'm not trainer locked. And then I'm going to be able to get the KO using Donphan's second attack on that Seismitoad. And I'm then going to go down. That Donphan is going to die. And that was always the worry. Taking the big KO and leaving the Donphan to die. But I don't mind that the Donphan's going to die, because I've now got 4 prizes left, and he's going to go down to 2 prizes here. But you see there that I've got my Lysandre in hand. There are other Lysandres, and there are other Pokemon Catchers in my deck, and he's got 2 pretty much dead Seismitoads sitting on his bench. They are going to die pretty gosh darn quickly. And that is a very, very good thing. So I can put my Kyurem down and I can pop a Floatstone on there, so if he wants to go the Reshiram route, that's fine, I'm okay with that. And then I'm going to be able to use Lysandra to drag up one of those Seismitoads and get the KO. And because there's 100 left on the Seismitoad on the bench, I'm not going to want to drag that one up, but I misread it, which is silly. I'm actually going to do 90 and leave it with 10 damage left. All I can say on that part is I misread it when I was playing. I was playing a friend, I wasn't paying enough attention, and I misread it. But that's still not the end of the world. Because what's he going to do? Well, if he retreats into Reshiram and attacks, then Kyurem's going to kill him. And if he attacks Survivor the Seismitoad, they're going to die. So although that was a silly mistake, and he's essentially 2 prizes up here, I'm liking my game right now. I feel like I'm in control of this particular matchup, because both those Seismitoad are going to die fairly quickly. Now, even if he uses that computer search to grab a Lysandra to pull up one of my Donphan, it's not going to kill the Donphan. And the Donphan will kill the Seismitoad. So there's really not very much for him to do here. There's not that many options for him. He can play a laser and hope it keeps me asleep. That would be one option. And he's going to play the Lysandra, and he's going to bring up the Donphan, and he's going to do 100 damage, and he's got the laser. Now, with the Virbank, this would be a KO, but it doesn't look like he's got the Virbank, and if he doesn't have the Virbank, especially with me staying awake, that doesn't really do him any good. He's not got anything that hits my bench, and he's going to need another Lysandra in order to get the KO. So I'm not really hugely worried at this stage, because, you know, I'm still alive. I'll die of poison if I stay up there for too long, but I'm not going to do so. And I've talked in my deck breakdown about the consistency of Alex Hill's list, and that's where this really comes in here. I have got supporters, and I play one, and you see there, yeah, 2 of them are ends, but I've got the ends, and I've got a Juniper. Consistency is absolutely key here. So, I'm able to attach an energy, and here I'm going to get the KO on his Seismitoad, I'm going to be able to flick to something on my bench, and he cannot get the win this turn. It is impossible for him to win the game this turn. He is not hitting the bench, he's got 2 prizes left, I am not playing any EX Pokemon, and that's why you really don't want something like Jirachi in this deck. And if I can hit heads on that Pokemon catcher, I will win the game next turn. It is in the bag. And that is a very, very good thing. If not, I can end us both to 2, and we can take our chances. If I can hit heads on the catcher, order into a Lysandra, the game is over. Otherwise, he's still got a chance. But this is kind of what we see with this Donphan deck. I was behind early game. He took the early prizes, but the prize trade is just immense here. I'm effectively 2-hit KOing Seismitoads, and he puts a fresh Seismitoad up. But I'm not really worried about that. I can half-kill that Seismitoad this turn. So one of 2 things is going to happen. Oh, and I can't actually play the Pokemon catcher to hit a heads, but it doesn't really matter, because he's still got 2 prizes to take. He can't win the game on his next turn. I'm going to be able to do, I believe I can do 90 with at least one of those Donphan. Switch back to the Kyurem. He's not going to KO the Kyurem. And then what's he going to do? He can just, you know, he can't keep using Seismitoad, because they'll both be within 1 hit of being killed. So I'm just going to go the N route here, and the reason I'm going for the N is because I'm in a good position. He has no good attackers, he's just got his Seismitoad and they're not doing enough damage. He's now on a clock. My Donphan, he cannot keep taking hits of 90 damage to his Seismitoad, or 100 damage I should say, over and over again. He can't keep taking those hits. So he can retreat into things like Reshiram, but he hasn't got anything to attack or switch there. But he's doing what, 50 damage, and then I can kill his Reshiram. So there's a fighting stadium, which is going to help me a little bit. And then I'm going to probably Juniper here. If I draw into a DCE, I can have the KO. If I don't draw into a DCE, I'm going to be looking for a Lysandra for next turn, or a catcher for this turn to end the game. So I'm really not very worried here. I could even retreat and let him just hit a Donphan, because he's not going to be killing anything with that Reshiram. That Reshiram is only doing 50 damage, so I can actually retreat into a Donphan here. Now I could play the end to try and screw him over, but I'm going to, I think, go for the Juniper here, and I hit the Pokemon catcher. Heads here wins me the game right now, and of course it's a Tails. You know it's going to be a Tails, ladies and gentlemen, don't act surprised. But it's not the end of the day. because I'm still liking my position. Now, I am doing 100 with Donphan, so I can actually get the KO with Donphan here, and I can then retreat either to a Hawlucha, or, I say retreat, I mean switch into a Hawlucha, or I could even have put the Float Stone onto the Lunatone and be able to retreat him. The HP isn't a big deal, and I don't want him to play a Startling Megaphone and leave the Lunatone active, so I'm going to put the Hawlucha up there. Now, the prize trade is in my favour. I've got a single prize left, and I don't believe there's anything there. Oh no, there is something there. So he's got a Mewtwo. That's what he's going to be trying to do here. That Mewtwo, combined with a Lysandra, could kill my Donphan. But now he's got to find something to kill that Hawlucha. And he could, if he had a DCE, kill it with his Zekrom, but then of course he's leaving the Zekrom active, and that Zekrom would then die due to a hit from the Donphan, because it's fighting weak. Now what he could do is use Mewtwo, Verbank, City Gym, and a Hypnotoxic Laser, and there's a max potion, but he'd need to attack with that Seismitoad to make it worthwhile, and he still would be 2-hit KOing even the Hawlucha if he plays Seismitoad. So he's just not been able to get the attacks, and this is the thing about this Seismitoad deck. You can't do that unless you've got the water energy. So I don't have very much here. I really need a Lysandra, but I don't really have any way of getting that for the second. I could go for a Pokemon Catcher with Corinna if I've got one left, but I don't really, The problem is, no, and there aren't actually any Lysandra in my deck apparently either, which is a shame. It doesn't look like. So, oh, apparently I do have game. Oh, and of course I've got game because I can just retreat into the Kyurem, play the Juniper, draw the DCE, which I know is one of only 2 cards in my deck, and attach with the Kyurem. I was so worried. Okay, I could have done it with a Kyurem. I've done it with a Donphan instead. I just love Donphan. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Comment, subscribe, you know the deal. I shall see you very soon for more videos.